What's going on, you guys? It's Paul from PB Sports Talk here with you again. I got another passionate topic that I'm going to talk about. Ben Johnson, who I believe in less than a year has become the most hated coach in all of sports, not just football, but all of sports. And he's maybe approaching history already. I don't know if that's something that you want to make history on, being the most disliked, being the most hated, being a marked man is really what I think this has become. And I'm going to get into that in a second, but let me just first say a couple of things here. Number one, yes, I'm from Detroit. Yes, the Lions are my favorite team. Yes, Ben Johnson was our offensive coordinator. Yes, he left us. So for all you trolls out there who are going to hit up my account, I mean, go ahead. You want to do that? Do that. But I'm going to come to you with some hardcore facts about sports and about life and about exactly the road that I believe that Ben Johnson's going down. And it's about to get very dark very, very soon. And he will have nobody to blame but the person he sees in the mirror. And all of you fans in Chicago that love him and that seem to like this type of behavior, it's not going to work out well for you guys. So I'll get to that in a second. Let me give you just some quick background about me. All right. I'm a sports fan, obviously. Born and raised in Detroit. Lived in Detroit first 19 years of my life. Lived in Michigan for 53 years of my life. Relocated to Florida about a year ago, last February. So next month will be a year full-time in February. Lions through and through, but I cover all sports, all teams. People tend to think, and I got lots of comments. I made a video yesterday that hit a lot of people hard, I guess. And they think I'm a Green Bay fan. They think they don't understand who I'm a fan of or what. I talk about all teams. I don't just talk about the Lions. I mean, I have a Patriots shirt on right now. I like the Patriots. I actually am a fan of the Patriots, but it's not like my team. The Lions are my team, but I cover all teams with what I do. So longtime coach, former coach, coached the game of basketball. But I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter what sport, that you coach. It is a fraternity, and it is a group of people that are all a little bit crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. Unless you're coaching some house league or something, if you're looking to do it on any kind of level to be successful long term, you got a little kook in you. I'm not going to lie. If you want to be good in coaching and everything that goes with it, the politics, the parents at the younger levels, you want to move up, and then there's all the things that come along with it, you got to be a little crazy. Running an organization, running a franchise as a coach, all right, and being the face of it, of the program or of the franchise or whatever you want to say, there's a lot that goes to it, man. You eat it, you drink it, you sleep it, you breathe it. It's everything. It is hard, really, really hard. And honestly, if you take it seriously and you really want to do well, it doesn't matter what level you're at. It doesn't matter if you're Ben Johnson. It doesn't matter if you're Dan Campbell behind me on the screen here. It's not easy. And you want to make your mark. And there's a whole bunch of people. There's 32 of those coaches, and everybody's aiming for the same thing, and everybody wants the same thing. A lot of people have a different approach. For me, when I coached, I was very, very high energy. I was not necessarily a buttoned-up guy. When I say buttoned-up guy, I wasn't like this quiet, unassuming guy that would sit on the bench and that wouldn't say anything, or that wouldn't be loud in the locker room, or that wouldn't be, demanding of the team and of the organization that I represented with the high expectation. The standard of excellence is what I believed. 8 years coaching, 7 years champion, 7-time champion. And that's just who I am and what I am in my life. It doesn't matter what I do. I want to be really, really good at it. And I be honest, I want to be one of the best at it. How about the way that we go about that? How we go about that matters. And in a coaching fraternity of 32 men of the most prestigious jobs, again, if you're one of 32, one of only 32 of anything in this world, I mean, it's a really, really select group. It's a fraternity, and everybody's got to have each other's back. And so for me, I wanted to outwork you. I wanted to out-strategize you. I wanted to outmaneuver you, out-hustle you, outthink you, outwin you, out everything about my teams, our teams. I wanted to just beat you. And I didn't want to just beat you. I wanted to beat you by 20 within the rules, as my father taught me at a very, very young age. Learn the rules of the game, try to play them better than everybody else. And so that's what I tried to do. Okay. But there's a certain decorum, there's a certain etiquette, there's a certain responsibility that you have as a coach. And again, that doesn't matter what level you're at. For my level, it was middle school, high school, AAU basketball. For Ben Johnson, he was an offensive coordinator for the Lions, and now he's a head coach for the Bears. Every single thing you do in 2026 now is scrutinized at the highest level. There's a camera on you. There are online sleuths. There is social media. There are people that's all they do all day is find things that you do or say that they can make become viral. And they're looking for things that are controversial to do that. And you don't want to be the face of something that is negatively controversial, both to yourself, your own name, right? Your own family, the organization you represent, the team you represent, the badge of the NFL in this case that you represent, the fans, and everything else that goes along with it. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I don't claim to be one, but I've studied human behavior for the last 30 years, and I've been a business owner for 30 years, and I've had to go through a lot of those trials and tribulations in life. I'm about to be 54 years old in June. So some wisdom comes over time, just like with anybody else. I'm not special that way. What I know now at 53, about to be 54, is a whole lot more than 44, 34, 24, etc. And I think that's the case for all of us. And for me, I'm obsessed with learning. I'm obsessed with being better today than I was yesterday. And I know that I won't be as good as I'm not as good as I am likely to be tomorrow. That's just the way that I operate. If I make this video and it comes out a certain kind of way, I want to do the next one even better. So there's a lot of what Ben Johnson is doing that I totally understand. And I see a little bit of a yellowish tint that's in the screen here. And I apologize for that. I think it's because I have so much yellow, honestly, in the graphic, and it's reflecting. So I apologize for that. There are a lot of things about Ben Johnson that I respect. Ben Johnson is a creative mind. He's very intuitive. He's been very successful as an offensive coordinator. He learned very, very well from Dan Campbell. Dan says it himself and says that Ben kind of took it, next level, and that Dan would step away and he would just let Ben go. So a lot of credit goes to Ben Johnson for that. All you online sleuths, all you online trolls, you heard what I said. But that doesn't mean that he's a head coach. And I'm going to explain to you in a moment why. So about the I'm not a doctor type of thing, here's what I think's going on with Ben Johnson. Let me analyze him for a quick second, because there's some analyzing there. And I think bro needs a little bit of help, to be honest with you. Ben Johnson, and I've done some of this in my own life. There's a book written by a distance, what I call a distance mentor of mine, Patrick Bet-David, and it's called Choose Your Enemies Wisely. I recommend that everybody read that. It doesn't matter what you do in life. You could be a coach, not a coach, business, own a business, not own a business. It's applicable to everyday life. Choose your enemies wisely. And it is about choosing enemies and choosing certain people that have come about in your life that you use as motivation. And there's a saying that I have, that I put the people who have doubted me, who have hurt me, who have lied to me, who have stole from me, who have broken contracts and non-disclosure agreements that have threatened me personally, my well-being, my safety, that have threatened my wife and our lives. I put all of those people up here. So that is in a way where you just sometimes you don't feel like getting up in the morning, or you just don't feel like continuing, or life gets really, really heavy. You rely on those things to help push you through. You rely on those things to keep you on the edge, so to say, kind of right where you need to be. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a coach, you need to have some of those things. If you're that every day, and there's nothing against people like this, it's just not for me. And I don't think it's for Ben Johnson either. If you're just a person who wants to punch a clock every day and go do your 8 hours and come home and you want to sit around and have a beer and watch TV, it's a little bit different for somebody like you. If you want to be on the edge and you want to make a difference and you really want to try to be great at something and leave a legacy, man, you have to go all the way out on that edge. And it takes a lot. It takes more than just the idea and the want to do that. It takes a whole lot of planning, a whole lot of preparation, a whole lot of work, and ultimately a whole lot of execution. And not everybody can pull off the execution part. That's the part where people try to trip up, or that's where people try to get to, and they do trip up. Ben Johnson got ultimately the head coaching job that he wanted. Now, the way that he went about getting the head coaching job, I think still chaps a lot of people in Detroit. And it bothers me too. He flirted with the NFL when he had his team and they were going through the playoffs, and he wasn't, none of us believe he was focused. No. If you're looking for a job, we've all done it in our lives. And as soon as you check out, man, it's hard to finish what you started. Totally get it. I absolutely 100% get that part. But to the degree that you continue on and you almost welcome that type of stuff, that's just a line you shouldn't cross. Honor your obligation and exit gracefully. Now, Ben took staff of the Lions with him. I'm not here to argue that. I've done it. I've recruited people from other companies. That's part of life. I just made a video that got thousands and thousands and thousands of views the other day about pulling people from other places. So I totally get that too. Antoine Randall and 2 other people he took, I think. I'm not even mad about that. It's what he did after the fact. And people say, you would do anything to take him back. Oh, no, I wouldn't. I don't think Dan Campbell would. I don't think the Ford family would either. I don't think anyone in Detroit wants anything to do with what this guy has become. He has become the poster child of exactly what not to be. You can argue and you can say, oh, he's done well as a coach. And somebody said yesterday, he's up for being coach of the year. Well, good luck with that. And it matters how you go about that. Now, historically, there's guys like Billy Martin, Bill Parcells, Greg Popovich was a little bit prickly, Bill Belichick. There's different guys that were like that. But to the extent that these guys went on camera around the team and things and went to an introductory press conference like you see there on the screen, that's when he accepted the Bears job. 2 days ago, what he did with Matt LaFleur in front of the whole nation to see the way he acted like a buffoon at the 50-yard line, taking his shirt off in the locker room while he knows cameras are on, and everybody's all over me yesterday. Oh, it was a hot dog company that made this type of contest. And then the last one there where he says F them, meaning the Packers, and he says it multiple times in the locker room in front of the team. I got people all over me on social saying that was in the locker room. It isn't just in the locker room. There's cameras in the locker room. There are family members that are distantly on the perimeter of that. There are even some kids that are on the perimeter of that locker room or just at the door. Okay. Something is up with Ben Johnson in that he needs all attention and focus on him. And I believe it stems from a serious insecurity about bringing attention to himself and him being a complete asshole. So everybody pays attention to him. This is almost like an internal self-motivation that says, if I'm enough of an asshole and if enough people pay attention to me, then that's going to motivate me to be the greatest that I need to be. I honestly think there is such a thing as that in a textbook. And I can tell you from experience that I was a little bit like that. If I could ruffle enough feathers, people would pay attention to me and I would get credit for what I was doing. I later learned in life that let my merits and what I've created with the help of others, let that stand on its own 2 feet. And if you do that, everything else will take care of itself. Ben Johnson might never snap out of this. This just might be who he is. We didn't see this in Detroit. He was really, really quiet. He was behind the scenes. He wasn't the face of the face of the team. He wasn't, at the microphone, speaking in a press conference every Monday or every Tuesday, whatever it is. He would get occasional times where they would interview him, but that was it. I never knew Ben Johnson to be a total asshole like this. I really don't. And I believe this is really him. Some of it's for show, but I believe at the core, this is who he is. He's a really, really immature, in my opinion, really, really immature, insecure human being. And the way he wants to pull people around him to rally around him is by acting this way, which is really the opposite of what a successful person and particularly a coach, whether you're leading older men like this, grown men, or you're leading college men, or you're leading high school young men, or you're leading AAU or middle school, or even if you're in coaching a third grade team, it matters how you act. I've always said it matters how you win. It matters how you lose. All the attention is in the details, or all the details are in the details. How you're truly performing isn't always necessarily equated to what the scoreboard says. How'd you get there? How did you perform? Why did you lose? Why did you win? How did you win? How did you lose? Well, with Ben Johnson, it's how did you act? How did you go about yourself? If you need to motivate yourself by making sure that every time a camera is on you, you act a fool like this to bring attention to yourself and to the Bears and to say, come for us, we're here, we're ready. This is how he self-motivates, in my opinion. This is how he feels he has to motivate his team. My guess, just from wisdom and experience, my own life experiences, he probably doesn't know how to motivate a different kind of way. So this is the way that he's comfortable with, and he's chosen to do it. But what he's doing, and I don't think he realizes it, he is literally making himself the enemy of the NFL. He's making himself the enemy of the fraternity of coaches. And most importantly, and this is one that really bothers me. People could say someone told me yesterday, stop clutching your pearls. He's in the locker room and this is life and, you're a boomer and all this type of stuff. You see, that's part of the problem. Part of the reason I got out of coaching in 2015 is I was very, very ill. That's a story for a different day. Scan that QR code up at the top corner and to take you to our YouTube page, and you could subscribe there and you'll learn a lot about my past when I was in a coma. So simultaneously, I was very, very ill, and I was kind of burnt from the politics of sports and what it all meant and what it all had become. And part of the reason at the younger levels, the struggle at the younger levels is this type of behavior. When you see a person act a fool on a field as a professional, let's say, and you see your coach, your actual coach acting like a fool almost at every turn, almost every media interaction. He's making enemies with coaches. That, for those of you who don't know, the picture of there where he's dressed in the tie and you got the Bears backdrop there, that's his introductory press conference talking about he enjoys beating the Packers and Matt LaFleur or whatever. Dude, it's like, there you go. He's got to motivate himself. Why don't you become a head coach? Why don't you apply all the skill set that you have, which is very good in a lot of ways? Why don't you make a really good team or make a team that much better and go out and beat Matt LaFleur in the Green Bay Packers and not have to talk about it? Let your actions talk about it. Let your team talk about it. And guess what, buddy? There's sports psychologists at your disposal every 2 seconds. And if you need to motivate yourself through hate, then you have a problem. You have a serious, serious problem. And as it states on the screen there, karma is undefeated in life. Like it is a billion and it's never lost. And it's coming for you, buddy. It's coming for your team. And I would guess the McCaskey family, I don't even know if they own the full team and or full major share owners of the team anymore of the Bears, or if they sold out. So correct me if I'm sorry if I'm wrong there. But those in charge of the Bears are probably starting to get a little bit tired of this, because I'm sure they're hearing about it from Goodell and other owners. Stop acting like a clown show. You are one of 32. You represent I think they're worth about $7 billion. You are the face. The GM is not even the face. The owner's not the face. You are the face of a $7 billion or so company. And this is how you conduct yourself? F them. Take your shirt off. Look at him at the 50-yard line acting a fool. Now, I know the history there. He ran his mouth. LaFleur and Green Bay started chatting a little bit. They win the other game, the game the other day after Green Bay hands it to him, and he acts like a clown there at the 50-yard line. This is a guy who the quarterback that he used to coach in Detroit, Jared Goff, who's like one of the nicest guys in the world and a pretty damn good quarterback. He's the guy who helped you get to this position. And Ben Johnson thinks that he made Jared Goff. This is the way he acts. So much to the fact that he went to Chicago, he will not address Jared Goff by name. I don't even know if he'll address Dan Campbell by name. I think he has. But you, buddy, you did some work, yes. And you're pretty good at a lot of different things in terms of innovation and all of that. But Jared Goff helped make you. Dan Campbell helped make you. The Lions helped make you. They gave you an opportunity. Why would you represent one of 32 that helped make you and acting like this? The only thing I could point to is your insecurity. And maybe you weren't hugged as a kid. I don't know. But this isn't the way to go about it. And this isn't the example to set. Now, I talk about this in a lot of videos. We could go back to Charles Barkley 30 years ago. I'm not your role model. Whether you like it or not, Ben Johnson, whether you like it or not as an NFL coach, you are in a way a role model. You are what people are looking at. You are what people are emulating. So when we all look at each other and we say, why is there such a problem in society? You all better check yourselves and realize that this is what they're watching. And I've watched, because I do it every day now, because this is what I do, part of what I do. It's like they like it. They feed into it. Now, those are the Chicago people. What I noticed as the day went on yesterday is a lot of people outside, and not just from Detroit, didn't respond very, very well to this, because I think it's so egregious that it's actually nauseating to a lot of people to watch this go on. Like, dude, you just arrived on the block. And the real truth of the matter is, if we really and truly break it down, and it's probably a topic for another day, but just a quick snippet, your team isn't that good. You struggle in the first quarter, you struggle in the second quarter, and a lot of times you struggle in the third quarter. You see, this behavior that you act is very chaotic. It's very unpredictable. And that's exactly what your team is. And what I mean by that is they're sleepwalking through 2 quarters. They're sleepwalking through 3 quarters. Who's that a reflection of, Ben? That's a reflection on you, buddy. So why don't you check yourself before acting this kind of way? You know what your team's really good at? And I talked about this in one of the last videos, is in chaos. When you are in chaos, and this is how he was at USC too. Dude couldn't drop back and read a defense normally. He had to be in a chaotic situation to succeed. And that's a good trait to have. But you can't perform for 2 quarters or 2.5 quarters and not the other quarter and a half plus OT if it takes 60 minutes plus. If that's what it takes, you ain't going to last for long. You won't last for long as a coach, nor will your team last for long on a run. And by the way, for the record, Ben Johnson, you got your ass kicked by the Lions twice, in the beginning of the year and the end of the year. Beginning of the year, they were full strength. End of the year, broken team, broken everywhere, and you got beat. And what Ben Johnson do come in and say after the game? He said, that was a very easy game plan. I am really upset with my team. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. I'm disappointed in our team. It's like he has to knock you. And so when he's trying to knock you, he's knocking himself, he's knocking his team, and he's putting the largest bullseye, not on just himself. And see, maybe this is what he doesn't understand. What he does for his reasons and his attention, he's bringing that all on the team, all on the organization, on the NFL. And generally real leaders don't understand that. They don't understand that that's something that you cannot do. And there's a whole litany of reasons why. And maybe he'll learn. And maybe they will sit him down and maybe they will explain to him that this needs to stop. Because it's actually embarrassing. And once again, I cannot emphasize this enough. I don't want Ben Johnson back. Until like the second from last game of the year, I think it was, the Lions statistically were better without Ben Johnson than they were with him. And you're talking about 3/5 of an offensive line that was gone. We were basically on our 4th center, if you include Ragnow being retired. And your number 1 tight end and one of the best in the league in Sam Laporta, his backup. I mean, you can go on and on and on. You got guys moving all over the place. You got, holy smokes, just a total mess. You have a healthy team all year long, and there's a lot of ifs. I get it. Everybody could say that. But, dollar for dollar, we would have been much, much better. And we beat your ass twice. And we put about a 50 piece on you the first time. So enough with the chit chat, enough with the mouth. Recognize who you are and what position you hold. Recognize who you represent. And whether you agree with it or disagree with it or are indifferent to it. The facts are the facts. You're one of 32. And there are people not only around the league that are watching you, in college that are watching you, in high school that are watching you. And all the people who aspire to be something in their life, they're watching you. And they're watching the way that you act. And unfortunately, a lot of them are gravitating towards it. And so when those people get set up for life and they go work in a job, maybe they never end up in the sports field, and they go act the way you're acting in a job and it doesn't work for them, they kind of wonder why. We live in a world where these are everywhere, and social media is everywhere, and everybody's on it. You're a high-profile guy, Ben Johnson. Everybody's watching, and all this viral stuff you do, which is exactly why you do it, because there is a camera on you, and on some level you get some satisfaction out of that, and you get really excited about that. You're sending a message to everyone everywhere that it is okay to do it, to do what you're doing. And let me just say this, as me as a coach, I'll never forget. We were in the semifinals. This is in middle school. We're in the semifinals. We win that game. We get to basically the state championship. We're playing against, end up playing against Cassius Winston's brother. If anybody knows who Cassius Winston was, actually his brother, who we played against, he is now deceased, unfortunately. May he rest in peace. But he was Cassius Winston, who went and played for Tom Izzo at Michigan State. That would be in the championship game. The coach that we were playing against, he was coaching at middle school, but he was an extremely successful high school coach and came back to help out the program kind of reestablish itself. And I'll never forget, I was all the way down the sidelines and I was like, yeah, what you got to say now? And I took it as a competitive. I was the new and upcoming guy, kind of. And I wanted to beat him. And it was a belt, like an extra loop on my belt, an extra, link in my belt that I beat him. And I don't think anybody expected us to. And I'm staring down there, but I'm not making a scene. This is what I'm thinking. I'm not saying it to some phone or some camera or even where people could see me doing that. I was doing it. And I was using it as motivation that no matter when it was a close game, man, nip and tuck, they're up one, we're down one, or excuse me, they're up one, we're up one, they're up four, we're up four. It's going back and forth, anybody's game to the very, very end. We pull it out. And it's not behind me. I keep the championship trophy of that very, very close. I hold that one near and dear because of who we beat. So Ben Johnson is a marked man. His team is now marked. I cannot wait till McVay puts him in his place next week, because McVay was a little bit like him when he first hit the scene. But he's been around a minute, and he's kind of went through it. He's kind of grown up a lot of it. But they were the same kind of guys going the same type trajectory. Sean McVay, that young guy, innovative mind. He's a first-time head coach, the Rams. I'm the man, right? And then he goes to the Super Bowl, and he had a lot of arrogance, and I didn't like him for that. I much rather like him a lot more now. Well, Ben's going through that. And I think Sean McVay and Stafford and Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams and Blake Corum and, the 13 personnel that they're playing, like with 3 tight ends, they're going to eat them up. They're going to beat Chicago pretty handedly, probably by double digits. It would not surprise me if it's in the double-digit category. So nevertheless, that's my take on Ben Johnson. I wouldn't want him back as our coach for free, honestly. I mean that sincerely. And I don't think, again, Dan Campbell wants people who act like that. This guy thinks he's bigger than it all. He thinks he's bigger than the team, the league. He just wants to be the face of it all in terms of put the eyes on me, put the attention on me, and he gets off on it for some kind of crazy way, taking your shirt off. I don't care what contest it was. That's on camera. It's going viral, and you look like Sideshow Bob. So I wouldn't want that as our coach. I really wouldn't. I like Dan Campbell as our coach, who's a respectable human being who understands the etiquette, and people like Sean Payton gave him a chance, and people like Sean Payton vouched for him. And, you have a responsibility to conduct yourself in a certain kind of way. And Dan Campbell vouched for Ben Johnson. And Ben Johnson's making himself look like a fool, and he's making the Bears look like a fool. And in the league to a degree. So somebody better get a hold of this guy and throw the lasso around him and rein him in, because he's straight up out of control. And as I say, And as it says here, karma's undefeated in life, and it's coming for them. All right, everybody, thanks for joining. Upper right-hand corner, scan that QR code. Subscribe on YouTube when you get there. Follow us everywhere. On X, all of our information goes up there first. Generally, it goes YouTube second. On X, at PB Sports Talks with an S on the end. Pics go up there. All the information goes up there. Takes go up there. Video, cuts, images, all sorts of, my opinion, live tweeting during games like tonight, which, by the way, tonight is the final game in Mike Tomlin's career for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll have a video coming out probably later today about who I believe is the top 10 coaches, or not the top 10 coaches, the top of the top 9 jobs. Which of those 9 jobs are available? And I'm going to tell you the one surprising name that I think that no one is factoring in as the number one available candidate out there, and his name's not John Harbaugh. Thanks for joining, everybody. Hope you have a great day. Remember, hug someone, hold someone, love someone. Life is truly short. Bye-bye now.